You remember the exact moment, don't you? Not a dramatic moment. Nothing you could write in a diary, just a small one. Maybe someone needed something from you again, and you gave it. You always give it. And while you were giving it, some quiet part of you thought, when is it my turn? And then the thought passed, like it always does. Because you're not the kind of person who says that out loud. There's a word people use for this. Selfless. They say it like a compliment, and for a long time you took it as one. Think about your mornings. Who is the first person you think about when you wake up? Be honest. Is it your child? Your partner? What needs to be done? Who needs to be fed, answered, helped, driven somewhere? Now ask yourself, when was the last time the first thought was about you? Not your health, because that affects everyone else. Not your mood, because you have to manage that for the room. Just you. What you feel, what you want, what you've been carrying. It's strange, isn't it? You've been the answer for so many people's questions, and you've never once asked yourself, what do I need today? I want to tell you about something the Stoics noticed, something Marcus Aurelius wrote almost 2,000 years ago, quietly in a notebook he never planned to publish. He said that a person who constantly neglects themselves while caring for others is not generous. They are unjust, not cruel, not selfish, just unjust. Because justice to the Stoics wasn't only about how you treat others, it was about how you treat every living being, including yourself. You are a living being. You count. That sentence might feel strange. It might even feel uncomfortable, because somewhere along the way, you stopped including yourself in the list of people you take care of. I've spoken to people, and I've felt this myself, where you reach a point where you don't even know what you like anymore, not what you're good at, not what people need from you, what you like, what makes you feel something other than tired. You go to order food and you ask everyone else first. You pick a movie and you say anything is fine, and the strange thing is you mean it, not because you're easygoing, but because you've spent so long putting yourself last, that your own preferences feel irrelevant, like something you gave up so long ago, you don't even mourn it anymore. That's not peace, that's erasure. There's a particular kind of loneliness in this, not the loneliness of being without people. You might be surrounded by people. It's the loneliness of realizing that nobody really knows you. They know the version of you that shows up, that answers the phone, that solves the problem, that holds it together. But the version of you that quietly falls apart at 11 p.m. when everyone else is asleep, nobody has met her, nobody has met him, because you never let them. And honestly, maybe because you're not sure you've met that person either. Here's the part nobody tells you. The giving, all that giving, it doesn't always come from a full place. Sometimes it comes from fear. Fear that if you stop, you become less needed. Fear that your value is tied to your usefulness. Fear that if you say I'm tired or I need something, people will be disappointed, and a disappointed person might leave or stop loving you the way they do. So you give again and again, not because it fills you, but because the alternative feels dangerous. The Stoics had a name for this too. They called it acting from passion instead of reason, giving out of anxiety rather than genuine care. The difference matters, not to judge yourself, but to see yourself clearly. I want to ask you something. Think of the last time someone asked you, "Are you okay? Really okay? Not just managing, but actually okay." How long ago was that? And if someone asked you right now, what would you say? I think a lot of us would hesitate, not because we're not okay, but because we're so out of practice with being asked. We've forgotten what an honest answer feels like. This isn't about being selfish. I want to be clear about that. Stoicism is not a philosophy of withdrawal. It's not stop caring for people. It's about understanding that you cannot give from empty. The person who never rests doesn't become stronger, they become brittle. The person who never refills doesn't become selfless, they become resentful. And resentment is what happens to love when it's never returned to its source. You deserve to be returned to. Not because you've earned it, not because you've given enough to deserve a turn, but because you are a person. That's it. That's the whole reason. So here is a small thing, not a habit, not a routine, not a list. Just a question to sit with tonight. When the house is quiet and everyone else is fine, when did I stop including myself in my own life? Not with guilt, not with self-pity, just curiosity. Because the answer might surprise you. And surprise is where things begin to move. You've given so much, for so long, to so many people. It's okay to give a little of that back to yourself. If this hit somewhere quiet, you probably know why. Drop a word in the comments, even just one. Sometimes that's enough.